Okay, guys, so I'm just going to create a quick video going over the steps of the things you're going to learn in domain 1.1, which is importing data into workbooks and then copying worksheets and things like that. So just in case you're absent, you can watch this to learn how to do it before doing your geometrics problems, or you can just go back and rewatch this if you need a quick review. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and open up a template. So if you come over here to File, then this is where you get templates. So these are things that already have, you can search for them, and it's obviously geometrics, and the test is going to tell you a very specific one. So you can click on more templates, and then you can look for, we're just going to do expense report. There's a bunch of different ones here. They already have preset things. They look great. They have calculations already in them to calculate things for you, but you're going to find one called expense report, and you are going to create it. Okay, so this is how you can use templates. There's a lot of great ones you can go searching for, but it already has, so if you look here, it already has different formulas. So if I calculate how much I needed for the hotel, okay, it's automatically going to update the total. And then for phone, it automatically calculates all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that is adding in the templates. And then now you also need to know how to create a new worksheet. So by default, the Excel will open up one tab at the bottom. That's a worksheet. This entire thing is called a workbook. This is one worksheet. So this little plus sign right here can add a new worksheet. That's usually the way I do it. That's the quickest. But you can also come up to the menu and do on the home tab, you can do insert, and you can do an entire sheet. Okay, but I usually just do this little plus sign right here. And if you need to know how to rename them too, so you can double click on that name to rename it, or you can right click on it and choose rename. But either way, you need to know how to rename it. So we're just going to call this one class. Okay, and then also you need to know how to move them. So if I just click and drag it, notice that little arrow pop up. That's how you can move it around from one to the other. Okay, you can also, move or copy. You can move it just by selecting where you want to put it. I want to move it to the end. I want to put it beforehand, all that kind of stuff. And it will move it that way as well. So you do need to know how to create a new one, rename it, and move an additional worksheet. Also, if you copy it, so in geometrics or on the exam, it might actually ask you to open up a file in the folder. So it'll have you open up a new file and then copy that one. So yes, you can, if I have a tab in a different Excel spreadsheet, I can copy it over to this one. It doesn't have to be copied just within the same workbook. I can copy it from something different. So when you get that one that's opened up, you can just move or copy right there. But then when you create a copy down here, you have to check that box. And so what it will do is it'll put a copy either in this workbook or in a different one. So right now, if you said to book, we're currently in this one. I could open up a whole new workbook and put it in there. I could, put in any workbook that's open. So you do have to have it opened in order to move it to it. But you just hit create copy. And so I'm going to do OK. And notice it did a copy of the same exact thing. So I didn't have anything on it, but it just puts a 2 behind it, because that is the copy. Okay, so you do need to know how to copy stuff. And then we are going to import different files. So there's a TXT file, CSV files, and these are just different ways. A TXT is basically almost like a notepad. So if you've ever used like the notepad stuff before, there's no formatting. It's just straight text. That's a TXT file. A CSV file, so if you look and you're opening it, so if you do file, whenever you save things, you can, let me just show you really quick. So when you save things, these are all the different file formats you can save things as. So CSV, there's even CSV Macintosh, CSV MS, like all these different things. CSV up here, there's macro-enabled workbook, all these different types. Okay, and there's text, that's a TXT file, tab delimited. So that's one that we're going to be importing, the file that's already there. You can also obviously save it as a PDF. CSV, comma delimited. So these two, tab delimited and comma delimited, these are the ones that we're going to be doing. So basically just saying what is separated by it. TXT is basically like notepad, straight, no formatting, just text. CSV is how most systems, when you go in the workplace and even in Skyward, whenever I download a report, like if I downloaded an attendance report, which I'm going to show you in a second, then it comes in a CSV file. So there's not really any formatting. It's just the information basically populated in Excel. And so you'd have to format it yourself and that kind of stuff. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to open a TXT file. So go ahead and go to File, go to Open. Okay. And then Browse. You should have already saved those things from Schoology. If you haven't, pause it, go back and save the 2 attached documents in this assignment. But it is in domain 1. I don't see anything here, but I already have them saved. That's because you have to do this drop down. So right now it says all Excel files. If you do the drop down, then you can say, oh, well, there's a text file that I want. Okay. Oh, all of these are text files that I can pull. Okay. Or I just choose all files and then you can see everything. That's kind of the easiest way as well. Okay. So notice the file type. I'm going to move this over so you can see what they say. Okay, this is a text document. That's TXT. Notice the icon's a little bit different. Okay, this icon, it looks just like the Excel, but it actually is a little bit different, the icon, because this is a comma delimited file. So that's the CSV. Okay, comma separated files. So the first one we're going to do is the TXT. So I'm going to open this. When you click open, okay, it's going to come up with this text import wizard. So if you're wanting to import this text, but you have to do a few things first. This file just had information on it. So it looks kind of like this. If you want to say my file has headers, it will tell you that's how you check it to say that. And again, geometrics and everything will tell you. You usually, unless it tells you otherwise, just leave it on delimited. So it's commas or tabs or separating fields. Or you say there are different fields in different columns. If you happen to have columns that are separated that way, then you're saying, okay, it's fixed. But if I just have tabs or commas separating words that I want in different columns, it's basically asking you how do you want to split up your data. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it as that, and I hit next, and then it's saying, okay, well, did you have tabs in your thing? Because this is what's going to separate. If I take this off and I say I have semicolons, well, my text did not have any semicolons, so it's not going to separate any of the words. Okay, but if I separate by tabs, and Geometrics will tell you what to separate it by, then it puts things into different columns if the tab button was pressed. Okay, if I do commas, it's not going to separate anything because there is no commas in there, but it's separating the file and the information by what, like a tab button or a comma or a space. If I do space, look, watch, that's really going to separate things. So it separates here because there is a space between those words. But we're just going to do tab and we hit next. It's going to show you like how do you want the column data to be formatted. We're just going to do general. Okay, you could do as text, but that's these drop down options here. How do I want it to be formatted? So just hit finish. Okay, and it just pulls in this basic information and it put it into separate columns based off of that tab that was separating it. Okay, so that does open up a whole new spreadsheet. So you have we're back to the expense report. You have that. So I could copy this over. I can move or copy, create a copy, and I can move it to the file that I have open, the expense report. Okay, and I can just move it to the end like that. Okay, and then we are going to next, our last thing is import a CSV file as a table. So I'm going to come to this blank, one of your blank ones here, and you're going to import data into a table. So I wouldn't do file open because that opens it in a whole new box, but you're going to go to data, the data tab at the top, and you can get data from all these different options. So these options here are also these little icons up here. So notice, oops, didn't mean to click on that. If you hover over it, then it says like from a text CSV file and all that stuff. It's the same as these. So if I do from file, then I could do from another Excel workbook, a text file, CSV file. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to choose the CSV. I'm going to do Skyward Report. So I literally actually downloaded my attendance Skyward Report for one of my classes. And because that's most systems, if you go to the workplace, they are going to be downloaded in these types of files. And that's when you have to upload it to Excel and you format it yourself. And it's just a data dump is what they call it. So I'm going to show you when I import it. Okay, it's going to put it into a table. So it can't import it as a table to kind of help it. It's showing you. So I took out the names of this file so that you can't see, look, it's business information management 2. Okay, I took out the names from the files and their student numbers so you can't identify who's what. But this is the actual attendance report that I got from, and I'm just going to hit load. And it will put it into, this is a table. So then I can see, okay, starting date, base 10/18, and this was the data report for these people and their schedules or their attendance. Okay, and down here it shows you it's the little key. Okay, so you can import data from those simple data dump files, and you can put them into tables, and that way you can adjust things. Okay, so that's mainly importing from different file types and moving the spreadsheets around. So now hopefully this will help you go do your Geometrics 5 questions and do that, and that's your minor grade.